PSG have claimed yet more hardware. For the 13th time, they are Coupe de France winners after a 1-0 victory over Saint Etienne. The goal coming early in the first half from Neymar. That was the lone difference as PSG collect hardware. But that hardly the story of this match, as we're joined by Julien and Don Hutchison. Jules, in the first half alone, 7 yellow cards, 1 red card, and Kylian Mbappe goes off injured. And what looked like seriously injured, what you got to say is almost worst case scenario here for PSG.
Yeah, you're right. It's true that despite the win in the cup final, as you said, he left a very sour taste in the Parisians' mouth because of that injury to Kylian Mbappe, who had to come off after half an hour with tears in his eyes, limping and grimacing, going straight back to the dressing room after that horrendous tackle by Loic Perrin, who I don't think meant badly, really, but he just mistimed it. Mbappe was too quick, pushed the ball. Perrin misses the ball and just gets the ankle between his two legs, his two tackling legs, if you want, on Mbappe, who had to come off. We saw him reappearing in the second half with crutches and with some sort of boot on his right ankle. Maybe that tells you that the ligament are injured. I've been touched. I've just heard tonight, just before now, that he was going to go to do some scans at the hospital tonight and not wait for tomorrow. And he seems in a better mood after the game, less preoccupied, less worried than he was maybe straight after the injury, which maybe could let you to think that it's not as serious as we thought originally. But regardless of how serious it is, it's bad news for Tuchel, who was really worried in his press conference after the game tonight, saying, I don't know yet what's happening or how serious it is, but I'm worried when I see him going off like this.
Don, we saw from the amount of fouls there, no secret to what Saint Etienne's tactics were going to be in this match. I know you've just seen the challenge. Do you think it was dirty?
I mean, obviously it was. I agree with Julien. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was mistimed. But certainly it's a bad tackle. And when you see it in slow motion and when you see the freeze frame, I've been there myself. When you take that sort of scissor tackle, that scissor action with a 2 foot, and it catches you and you knock you off balance, it leads me to think that his injury will be lateral ligaments. It'll be the outside of his foot that'll be causing the problem. And the PSG fans now will be panicking because the scans will be the most important thing. And Thomas Tuchel will want to get news on that straight away so they can start doing the rehab on Kylian Mbappe, because they've got Atalanta in a couple of weeks' time in the Champions League. So that's obviously a massive game. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready for the first leg. It's going to be touch and go. But when you see the still pictures and when you see it in slow motion, it does look a really bad tackle.
Jules, it's been Neymar in the past, now it's Mbappe at some point, and you have your PSG ways. Are PSG fans starting to feel snakebit?
I think so. There must be a degree of that. I certainly feel like this. I don't see how it could be back in 2 weeks. If the game was in a month, maybe, but if the ligaments are really damaged, even if it's just a little bit, I just don't think he can be back in 2 weeks' time for that game against Atalanta, or at least he would not be ready enough not to take too many risks to start him in that game, for example, and then risking losing him for longer than that. So, I don't know, it'll be tricky. We'll wait and see tonight what the first scans and exams say, and we will know maybe a bit more after that. But it's just the worst case scenario. As you said, there was no game for 4 months. They played 3 friendly matches where he was flying. He looked in great shape. He was involved in the goal that PSG scored tonight. He was involved before. He had a big chance early on as well in the game. And then after that, there's that tackle. And yeah, you do think, like, after 2 seasons of Neymar being injured in January or February, and nice Mbappe in a crucial time of the season, in a year as well where you feel that maybe you have a chance to finally get there, go far in the Champions League and maybe even winning it because you're on the right side of the draw, because all the games are over 1 leg. And yet you've got your best player arguably potentially being out for the rest of that Champions League campaign, which is obviously, as we said, the worst news that PSG could have had tonight.
Don, if Mbappe can't go, what does it do for PSG's chances against Atalanta? So far, most people have them pegged as a favorite. Would they remain the favorite without him?
I think so, because the artillery that they've got. They've still got Sarabia, who's a fantastic player. They've still got Neymar. They've still got Icardi. And you never know, me and Julien were chatting before, what it might do to PSG. Instead of PSG's fantastic 4 playing up front and them going hell for leather the way they normally do. Sometimes they get picked apart against the best sides in the Champions League. And it might just stiffen them up a little bit. It might make Thomas Tuchel a little bit more cautious. And where PSG have always been good is in the middle of the park when they dictate the tempo and they slow the game down and they get the ball into the front men quick and play slick football from there. It might just make them better. I mean, I know that sounds mad because Kylian Mbappe is the best young player in world football and he's going to dominate the Ballon d'Or in years to come. So they'll obviously be better with him. But tactically wise, going into the Atalanta game, it might just make them a little bit stiffer and a little bit harder to beat.
Jules, funny enough, we talked about it on yesterday's show. Edinson Cavani not going to be sticking around for Champions League. You think there's any regret to that decision now around PSG?
Maybe, although they tried their best and they tried everything they could to extend his contract. He's the one who didn't want to. Let's not forget as well that Angel Di Maria will be suspended for that game against Atalanta. So no Di Maria already, potentially no Mbappe. So you will be left with Neymar really and Icardi leading the line up front. Sarabia is a lovely player, but he doesn't have the impact that Di Maria or Mbappe could have in a game of that magnitude either. So, but maybe being a bit more cautious, being a bit more solid in midfield might not be a bad thing either. It's hard to tell, but you could have done with Cavanis for sure. You could have done with Meunier as well because Thilo Kehrer, the now number one and right back for PSG, also picked an injury tonight. So the two injuries are really bad news, and also the fact that Cavani and Meunier chose not to extend their contract with PSG for the Champions League or the return of the Champions League is also bad news. And suddenly from what was looking really good for PSG is already not looking so good right now.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.